Brazilian national team, dare I say, they are going through a very, very bad period at the moment. And again, dare I say that this is kind of the downfall of the Brazilian national team. Yo, what is going on, my people? 29 back with another video. I'm here standing right now in front of you guys with something I never thought I'd actually make. I'm going to be talking about the Brazilian national team and just how poorly they've been performing. They've been pretty bad, if we're being honest, and we're here to talk about it. If you guys are new to the channel, please make sure to smash that like button, subscribe if you guys are new. Join me on all my social media platforms, X, Instagram, TikTok, Discord. All those links will be down in the description for you guys to check out. And without further ado, let's get started. Now, listen, they're not in a position where they're like losing all their games and it's a complete catastrophe. It's something that, in my opinion, is somewhat still fixable. But if we go through Brazil's, literally their last few results, it's pretty ugly. We're going to be talking about their Copa America and the other results now, and I'm going to move on to the World Cup qualification because it doesn't look good there as well for them. So Brazil are just not in a good position, considering all the star power they have, and it's something that needs to get fixed. Now, they have decent results. Like I said, they won against England 1-0. They drew against Spain 3-3. They won against Mexico 3-2. But then a 1-1 draw against the USA. A 0-0 draw against Costa Rica. Yeah, they won against Paraguay, a game they should be winning. And then 1-1 against Colombia. Hence, Colombia has been doing very well. They're currently in the final of the Copa America. And now just out from the Copa America when they lost to Uruguay in the penalties. But the problem is not the results necessarily. It's how the team has been playing. They've just been so uninspiring to watch. There's been so much criticism, this Brazil side. They just look uninspiring, man. You watch this team and you're like, am I even watching Brazil? Like, what am I watching? I'm watching a very uninspiring team. Hence, again, they've had a lot of injuries, a lot of players that aren't playing, players like Neymar and such, not in the national team. But we're talking Brazil. We're talking, historically, I would say, the best national team ever. Some would say they aren't, but nevertheless, they are one of the best national teams of all time. They always produce talents. They have great players. It's not a team that ever going to be in a position where they're never going to do well, but it seems that the way that they've been continuing, it's just very uninspiring. Whether that's the coach or not, I think it's really up to the manager and the players themselves. I mean, I'm just looking at the Uruguay game as an example. Like, it was such uninspiring football. And I'm not going to claim that Uruguay was fantastic either, but Brazil really should have done better. And I'm looking at the ratings as well of these players on some of these games. Like, it's so uninspiring, and it's not the Joga Bonito that we know. It's hard to see that because, Brazil, like I said, historical team. It's hard to see that. And when you've got the big players not playing, Vinicius Jr. was suspended for this Uruguay game, but still, even with him on, I don't think they would have won. It was just so uninspiring to watch that. Like, you kind of look at this team and you're like, is this gonna get fixed? You're looking at the DMs, Bruno Guimaraes, who's been very good, but then you've got João Gomes from Wolves, who's been very uninspiring. Or you're watching at the midfield, the wingers too, Rafinha, Rodrigo, they've been pretty uninspiring. Lucas Paqueta, he's been pretty uninspiring. And then you've got the number 9 issue, the striker issue for Brazil, where, okay, Vinicius Jr. is not going to play, who are you going to put in? Endrick played that last game against Uruguay, and I know he's only 17, and I don't like to criticize, players that are of that age, but he was horrible. He was horrible. And I think he only had like one pass, and it was like the halftime kick or something like that, which it's very worrying. And they had other strikers in the lineup. They had the likes of Evan Nilsson for Porto, who's been pretty good too. But again, you're looking at this Brazilian national team and you're like, this is not the Brazil I know and love. And it's worrying. It's worrying because it also shows in the previous results where, again, a team like Costa Rica, which, all credit to Costa Rica, Brazil should be winning that game. Again, they looked very uninspiring. Rodrigo was on top. Vinicius was very uninspiring. They barely did anything at all, and it's not good. Then you go back to the World Cup qualifying where they lost 2-0 against Uruguay, they lost against Colombia, they lost against Argentina. Yes, these are, tough teams. They also drew 1-1 against Venezuela, and then they won only 1-0 to Peru. Like, do you know what I'm kind of saying? Is like, it's not necessarily horrible results, but they should be doing a lot better. You know, if you're losing against teams like Argentina, it's understandable, but when you're only doing 1-1 against Venezuela or barely winning any games, like against Peru, is a huge problem. There's a huge problem. Uninspiring football, and these guys need to do better. Now, I don't know what's going on managerial-wise. I don't know if people want Dorival Junior still in. I don't know what's going to happen, right? But what I do know is that if they continue like this, I think it's going to be another upset at the World Cup. You know, they got knocked out in 2022 against Croatia in a penalty shootout. Yes, it was a penalty shootout, but yeah, Brazil haven't been doing well in the past few World Cups, I would say. Anyways, it's been a lot of upsets. A lot of people are upset with the way they've been playing in the last World Cups, and I think if it continues this way, right, I don't think they'll be much better in 2026. I think it'll be another upset because realistically, when you're playing such uninspiring football, you're going to get punished no matter who you're playing against, right? If you can play against a lower side, you can play against a bigger side, you're going to get punished at some moment in time. Hopefully for Brazil, they do well. They are playing against Ecuador, Paraguay, Chile. These are the next few fixtures. So we're going to see. If they start, beating these teams, they should be beating Ecuador, they should be beating Paraguay, and they should be beating Chile. These are teams they should be winning. They're also going to play against Peru, Venezuela. Like, the next 5 games are very winnable games. They should be getting, I would say they should be getting 5 wins out of 5, 4 wins out of 5 at most. But if they start tying these games or start losing them, there's a huge problem for the qualification because they're going to be playing the big guns after. They're going to play Uruguay, Colombia, Argentina. So they can't afford to be losing points in the next 5 games, or else I would say their World Cup qualification might actually be in trouble too. They're currently, if I'm not mistaken, I think they're currently 6th in World Cup qualification in the rankings, which if you told me Brazil are 6th, I mean, Argentina's 1st, Uruguay 2nd, Colombia 3rd, Venezuela 4th, Ecuador 5th. If you're telling me Venezuela and Ecuador are above Brazil, there's something wrong. With all due respect, there's something wrong with the Brazilian national team. It needs to get fixed. Paraguay are creeping in, 5 points. Brazil has 7. Brazil need to be winning their games. That's the conclusion. And if they don't, they're going to get hurt from this. They're going to be in trouble for qualification. And I mean, I don't think they're going to be in a position where they don't qualify for the World Cup. I think that's a little too much, but they're not doing well, and it's very, very sad to see. What do you guys think about this Brazilian national team? Do you guys think it's the coach, the players? The players need to do better. What is the problem? Let me know down in the comment section down below, or on Twitter, or /X, TikTok, Discord, Instagram. All those links will be down in the description for you guys to check out. And that's it. Yeah, the downfall of the Brazilian national team. Joga Bonito might actually be dead, guys. We're just going to have to wait and see. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Damn, I'm on red alert.